Happy Friday, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here, August 23rd, 2013. August 23rd, 2013. Glad it's the end of the week? Well, I bet you are. But look, if you're glad it's the end of the week, then that must mean that your job is kind of stressful, right? Something's going on there. Well, how would you like to be your own boss? How would you like to not have to punch a time clock? How would you like to have to make your own hours and work as much or as little as you want to because you decide to? Well, if you become a independent longevity distributor, you can do just that. As a matter of fact, you don't even have to quit the job that you have now. You just become a longevity distributor while you're working whatever job you've got now. Let us hold your hand and show you how to work this business until it's replacing the income that you have now, and then you can stress freely, give your people your notice because you don't need to work there anymore because guess what? Now I'm self-sufficient with my own business. I mean, isn't that the American dream, to have your own business? Isn't that what, they tell us in school? Isn't that what they drill into our heads on all these inspirational Hallmark TV shows and movies that we watch? I mean, isn't, working for yourself the big deal here? Well, it is. And it's awesome when you work for yourself and it's successful. Now, you know how much it costs to, do a typical startup business in the United States? It's anywhere between $25,000 and $100,000. I mean, if you want to buy a McDonald's franchise, forget it. I think that's $500,000. So, what the deal for longevity? It's a $500 one-time buy-in. $500, and you don't even have to get your feet wet at the $500 CEO pack one-time buy-in. You can get your feet wet at the $10 level. You can join longevity, become a business builder, be eligible to be paid 4 different ways with one-time $10 membership fee, a one-time $10 membership fee. So you have an extra $10? Do you have an extra hour a day that you can devote to learning how to do this? Well, if you have $10 and an extra hour a day, then I'm your man. Go to my website, fireyourmdnow.com. Click on the longevity button, join the cause, and somebody from my group will be in touch with you, and we'll show you what's up. We'll show you how to do it, because the more successful you are, the more successful we are. We want you to be successful. And this is, a better way to do business, I think. As a matter of fact, I know it's a better way to do business. Now, today I want to talk about Boniva. Talk about not knowing what you don't know. Boniva and Fosamax, of course, are in the categories of medicines called bisphosphonates. And bisphosphonates bisphosphonates, the intention of a bisphosphonate is to strengthen your musculoskeletal system so that you do not get osteoporosis, right? It's an osteoporosis treatment. When somebody has osteoporosis, their bones have become thin, and the bones become fragile, and the bones snap like dry tinder. It's a very painful thing. Most osteoporotic cases happen in the elderly people, and so what will happen is a woman has fragile hips, and she'll slip on a banana peel or fall onto the floor, trip on the carpet or something, and just a small fall and the hip snaps like dry tinder, and then it's a big bad voodoo daddy, because when you have to do hip replacement surgery on somebody in the elderly population, it's game over. So preventively, the medical community is trying to help people not get to that point. They're trying to help them to strengthen their bones. But remember, MDs are like colorblind art critics who do not know that they're colorblind, and they are completely in the pocket of the pharmaceutical industry, and they just don't think stuff through. This is, I'm going to start a top 10 list of the top 10 reasons to fire your MD. Reason number 10 today. Top 10 reasons to fire your MD. Reason number 10, Boniva and Fosamax. Your body has a built-in mechanism through which it chews up old bone and lays down new bone. It's happening all the time. Your body is chewing up old bone and laying down new bone all of the time, every day. So when you have an osteoporotic problem, or osteopenia, which is pre-osteoporosis, your bones are getting thinner and thinner and thinner. So wouldn't it be prudent then to upregulate the cells in your body that lay down new bone? Well, that would be a good idea, but that's not what the MDs did. Instead, the MDs developed a man-made synthetic drug, the intention of which, get this, the intention of which is to put to sleep the cells in your body that chew up old bone. The cells that chew up old bone are called osteoclasts. Osteoclast. Look it up. O-S-T like Thomas, E-O-C-L-A-S-T like Thomas. Osteoclast. Osteoblast lays down new bone. Osteoclast chews up old bone. So the MDs, in their brilliance, developed a drug that puts the cells to sleep that chew up your old bone. So guess what happens? Old bone accumulates in your bone. Now, the body was trying to get rid of the old bone in the first place. Remember that? Because the body has wisdom, the body has intelligence. But the MD does not see this. The MD does not believe this. Remember, they're colorblind art critics. The MD has no conceptual understanding that your body has wisdom. Your body has built-in intelligence. They're blind to it. So, because your body does have intelligence, it's trying to get rid of the old bone. Why? Because old bone is fragile and brittle. It's like dry rot. It's not a good idea to have dry rot in your house. The house is going to collapse if you have too much dry rot. Well, your body knows this about the bones as well. So what does the body do? Your body, and now we have audio. Your body on the internet. Your body, what your body does is it chews up old bone and lays down new bone. But what the drug does, Fosamax and Boniva, the bisphosphonates, it puts to sleep the cells that chew up old bone. So now you've got old bone accumulating in the bones, and guess what happens after 4, 5, 6, or 7 years? Because you have so much old bone now in your bone. By the way, your DEXA scan looks better and better. Your bone density is getting better and better on the DEXA scans and on the x-rays, and your medical doctor is very happy. Oh, it's a successful treatment. Only problem is the body was trying to get rid of the old bone in the first place. And so when you get old bone accumulating in the bone, your bones start to snap like dry tinder. But wasn't that the very problem we were trying to avoid? Yes. And this is the insanity of the MD. This is number 10. The 10th reason to fire your MD now. Because of this particular therapeutic. It's nonsensical. It does not make physiological sense. They haven't thought it through. And they shove this stuff down your throat. Sally Field did. You haven't seen her on the TV lately, have you? Pushing Boniva anymore? No. You know why? Because the latest round of class action lawsuits is against Boniva. And maybe even against Fosamax. I'm not sure. Because there's something called spontaneous leg fracture now that's happening in patients that have been taking this stuff for more than, what, 5, 6, 7 years. Why? Because your bones are chock full of old bone. Because the MDs forced it to be with their stupid drug that they didn't think through. But remember, it's not the MD's job to cure you. It's the MD's job to make money and to manage your symptoms. And they did. So for 5 years, your bones didn't snap like dry tinder, and then all of a sudden they did. Meanwhile, one of the leading side effects of Fosamax and Boniva and the bisphosphonates, your face falls off. That's right. Your face falls off because your jaw erodes. Erosion of the jawbone is a direct side effect of a bisphosphonate. Your bone dissolves, your jaw dissolves, your face falls off, and then 5, 6, 7 years later, your legs start to snap like dry tinder. Thank you very much, bus driver MD. Now, you know, nobody calls them on this, and even when they stop advertising the stuff direct to consumer on TV, your doctor is still going to recommend that you have it, even though there are all these class action lawsuits against it, because number one, the doctor doesn't stay current with what's going on. Number two, the doctor is an intellectual coward, because they're not going to go against the party line. They're going to be a good German. They're not going to go against the party line. They're just not. They've got too much money invested in doing what they do. So as long as the FDA okays the use of the drug, they're going to go ahead with it. And, you know, they decide it's collateral damage because only 40% of my patients are actually going to live long enough to have a spontaneous leg fracture. And then when that happens, we'll just give them the new titanium leg. This is how they think. Number 10 in my top 10 reasons to fire your MD now, the ridiculousness of Fosamax and Boniva, the bisphosphonates. It's ridiculous. It is an absolutely juvenile, old-fashioned, dangerous therapeutic that nobody questions, even when there are class action lawsuits against it. Now, what's going to happen? The women and the men who take this drug, they're suffering now. They're suffering now. But the people that make the drugs are, sitting in their mansions. They just bought 5 new cars and put in a brand new pool built on the back of your suffering. They don't give a damn. And, their wrists maybe get slapped a little, but they still have their jobs. Nobody goes to jail. And, maybe the drug companies have to pay a couple of $1 million in damages. To them, that's peanuts. And this is what happens when any aspect of the society is dominated by any other aspect of the society. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. I mean, look at what happened to Rome, the rise and fall of the Roman Empire. Absolute power. You can do whatever you want. There's nobody there for oversight. There's nobody there to slap your wrist. There's no consequences. And this is what the MDs are like. This is why you need to get away from their mentality, because they are okay with ridiculous treatments like this. Well, are there alternatives, Dr. Glidden? You bet there are, because remember, your bone is chewing up old bone and laying down new bone all of the time. Well, what does it need to lay down new bone? Fairy dust? Pixie dust? No. It needs nutrients, minerals, calcium, phosphorus, the stuff the bones are made out of, sulfur-bearing molecules. So, smart individuals, wise individuals, smart scientists, smart doctors see the wisdom in providing your body with the raw materials it needs to lay down new bone, because it's trying to do that all the time, and that's what we do. One healthy bone and joint pack for 100 pounds of body weight per month will strengthen, support, and promote the function of your musculoskeletal system, your bones and your joints, and that's way better than drying up your bones with accumulated old bone with a man-made, synthetic, expensive pharmaceutical. Reason number 10 to fire your MD now, ladies and gentlemen. Fosamax and Boniva. You've got to be kidding me. Stick around, taking your calls. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health, your friendly neighborhood naturopathic physician, coming to you live on the 23rd day of August, 2013. That's Friday, the 23rd day of August, 2013. We're going to go to California now and talk to Javier. By the way, folks, 866-582-9933. That's the number to call to speak to me live. 866-582-9933. Javier, welcome aboard. You are live.
Hello, Doc. How's your golf game?
It's getting better and better thanks to you. It's amazing that, I say it all the time, Javier. I got to take my own medicine that you don't know what you don't know. And certainly when it comes to learning how to do anything better, you need instruction. You need a little bit of help. I mean, for goodness sake, even Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods need a coach. Well, that information that you sent me, it is just fantastic, buddy. I can't thank you enough. It's game on now, buddy. It's game on.
Hey, I'll keep sending you the stuff, that I get, okay?
All right. I'll look forward to it, man. The knowledge is power. I appreciate it. So thanks for the call, Javier. How can I help?
I have a client from Africa that has, I don't know how you pronounce it, STAPHYLOCOCCUS.
Yeah, staph. He's got a staphylococcus infection. Do you know what part of his body is infected?
Well, we don't know. He didn't tell us, but he says he's got that problem. And he doesn't want to take medicine from the doctor, so wanted to see what we can do for him. Okay,
so if it's an infection on his skin, then he can do a couple. If he can do a couple of things topically, he needs to get the Pure Works foam, and the colloidal silver, the liquid colloidal silver, and he needs to spray the Pure Works foam on the staph infection on his skin every 3 hours. Every 3 hours. Actually, I want him to alternate the Pure Works foam and the colloidal silver every 3 hours. So every 3 hours he removes the bandage, he puts the Pure Works foam on it, rebandages it, and then 3 hours later he removes the bandage, puts the colloidal silver on it, and rebandages it, and he goes back and forth with colloidal silver Pure Works foam, colloidal silver Pure Works foam, colloidal silver Pure Works foam all day long. That's what I want him to do externally. Internally, he needs to support and promote and strengthen his immune system, and we do that with the Anti-Aging Healthy Start Pack, the Anti-Aging Healthy Start Pack and selenium, appropriate for body weight, the Anti-Aging Healthy Start Pack and selenium, appropriate for body weight, and Killer Biotic. I would give him 2 bottles of Killer Biotic a month, have him do 9 capsules of the Killer Biotic a day, 3 with breakfast, 3 with lunch, and 3 with dinner. He also needs to eat a diet that's high in protein. Every time he eats something, I want 50% of what's on his plate to be protein. So, you know, eggs, rice and beans, chicken, beef, fish, protein, protein, protein. And when he snacks between meals, have him snack on mixed salted nuts. They're loaded with protein. Your immune system is made from protein. I bet you didn't know that. Whenever you're up against some type of infection, you can strengthen your immune system by feeding your body protein, because that's what the immune system is made out of. So the Anti-Aging Healthy Start Pack for him, the Killer Biotic for him, a diet that's high in protein, and externally we do the Pure Works foam and the colloidal silver. You have to rebandage it with a fresh bandage every time. And if he does his due diligence with this, we can expect to see a positive change within 7 days. Within 7 days. Does that make sense?
Fantastic.
All right, Javier. How's everything down in California now? What's the temperature down there today?
It's fantastic. A little hot, but can't complain. We got better weather than anywhere else in the country.
You might be right, buddy. Appreciate everything that you do, Javier. Thanks for the call. And with my well, I'd like to send you some stuff on that I'm putting together. As far as McDonald's Burgers, the company, and what the comparison to being senior executive marketing director. All right, very good. I'll look forward to that, and I'll incorporate it into my next presentation, Javier. That's why they call it teamwork, buddy. Thanks for everything that you do. You got to love it. This is how we roll here, ladies and gentlemen. We are like a giant organism that's expanding, and every piece of the organism contributes to the whole. It's like a hive of bees, and you got to love it. What are you waiting for? FireYourMDNow.com. Click the longevity button and join the cause. Welcome back, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your friendly neighborhood naturopath, your steadfast advocate for health, welcoming you to another live edition of Fire Your MD Now. So I want to continue this conversation about Fosamax and Boniva, because it's an important thing to understand, right? And knowledge is power. So the MDs, when they're up against a problem like this, in order to try to prevent it, they just haven't thought it through. Or you know what? They thought it through, but not really, because their interpretation of how the body works is based upon a faulty premise. There's a built-in bias to how they view the world. There's a built-in bias. They're not aware of the bias that they bring to the table, and because they're not aware of their bias, their therapeutics fail. And now, this is why I recommend people fire their MDs. Not because they're bad people. Well, I could make the argument that, you know, they're not the most morally sound people in the world. Because, number one, they've aligned themselves with a medical profession that's for-profit, that is the leading cause of death and the leading cause of bankruptcy in the United States. They've aligned themselves on purpose with a medical profession that has completely failed egregiously to help people who are suffering with cancer. They've aligned themselves with a medical profession that has become, while they've been driving the bus of healthcare, monopolistically, monopolizing the medical theater, Alzheimer's has risen from obscurity to the leading cause of death. Autism has risen from 1 out of 10,000 to 1 out of 50. 33% of our kids are overweight. 1/3 of the adult population is obese. 700,000 people a year die from obesity-related illnesses. 500,000 people were killed by Vioxx. They've aligned themselves with a medical profession that's horrible. And they did it on purpose, ostensibly to make money. Now, you know, they could have become homeopaths. They could have become chiropractors. They could have become naturopaths or herbalists or acupuncturists. But they didn't. Nobody held a gun to their head and said, you must become an MD. They did it on purpose. And, you know, if you're a member of the American Medical Association, I've got no time for you at all, because you have aligned yourself willingly with a professional organization that's been found guilty in federal court of promoting a slander campaign against another medical profession, the chiropractors. I mean, that's like aligning yourself with, you know, the Ku Klux Klan or some, anti-whatever organization. You have aligned yourself on purpose with an organization that's despicable. And you don't have any shame or any guilt about it. And see, this is the biggest problem that I have with the MDs, right? It's the biggest problem. So, going back to bone health and the whole Fosamax and Boniva thing, the situation here that we're up against is something has to be done. And, you know, the MDs were correct in wanting to do something, wanting to kind of head this one off at the pass, to, you know, fix the problem before it became a bigger problem with broken hips and broken legs amongst the elderly. Because once that happens, it's game over. I mean, it's game over. So, however, because of their old-fashioned, outdated, archaic, dangerous methodology, they came up with absolutely the wrong therapy. And when they saw that the therapy wasn't working, they didn't question it. They didn't stop it. The only reason that these therapies become less used is because of class action lawsuits. It's not sociological, it's not humanitarian, it's financial. The companies that make these drugs are only going to curtail their dissemination because they're losing money developing them, not because they're hurting people. Now, I hope this isn't falling on deaf ears. This is why we recommend people fire their MD, because their philosophy of healing is just dangerous. And for goodness sake, isn't this the very definition of snake oil? And I'm going to keep saying this. I don't care. I'm going to keep saying it because it's true. I have to drive it home with a vengeance. Snake oil is supposed to, it's a medicine, right? It's a medical treatment, some type of medical treatment, some type of medicine in a bottle, which is supposed to help you, but instead it hurts you, and into the bargain it costs you quite a bit of money. Well, that's what Fosamax and Boniva are, supposed to help you, but instead it hurts you, and it costs a lot of money into the bargain. Isn't that what Vioxx was? Supposed to help you, instead not only hurt you, it killed you. 500,000 people died from Vioxx. And it was very expensive. Look, all things being equal, folks, we're welcome to our own opinions, but not our own sets of facts. The fact of the matter is that Fosamax and Boniva don't make your bones healthy. Fosamax and Boniva make old bone accumulate in your bones. Now, this makes the DEXA scan look better, but it doesn't do anything to help strengthen the bone. As a matter of fact, it does exactly what they were trying to fend off with the drug in the first place, and yet, even though they know that it does this, they continue to roll it out. Would you do that? I mean, if you were a house painter and you used a brand of paint which 1 month after you put it on chipped and peeled and cracked, would you use that brand of paint? No, you would not do that. If you were an automobile mechanic and you had one brand of spark plug that you knew would only last 7 days, would you put that in the car that you're working on? No, you would not do that. For goodness sake, but the MDs do it. And, we think that they're smart. We think that they're intelligent. We genuflect at the altar of their increased IQs all the time. We think that they're smarter than we are, but they're not. If they were smarter than we are, they would see the fault in their own medicine and they would take steps to address it, but they do not. And because they do not, and because they're unapologetic about not taking steps to address it, that's why you need to fire them. Because they're dangerous. You want good advice about stuff that you can do with science-based, clinically verified medical therapeutics that actually support and promote your body's ability to fix itself, in this case, your bones? Well, give us a call. That's why we're here. 866-582-9933. That's the number to call to speak to me live today. Lines are open, 866-582-9933. Once more, that's 866-582-9933. Now, here's an interesting anatomy lesson about bone health. Your bones are like a skeleton. It's like a pun intended there, right? Inside of the bone, there's a matrix. It's a matrix, and it's like, you ever seen somebody put up a house? First they put up the 2x4 stud walls, right? And it's just a bare bones house. It's just kind of the skeleton of the house. And then to that skeleton, they attach the drywall, and then they attach the plywood and the roofing shingles and the siding of the house and all that, right? Well, all that stuff has to attach to something. Well, all of the minerals in your bones, the calcium and the magnesium and the phosphorus and the boron and all of the minerals that make your bones strong have to attach to something. Well, what do they attach to? They attach to a sulfur matrix. They attach to a skeleton inside the skeleton that's made from sulfur-bearing molecules. These molecules, you've heard them. I bet you didn't know what they were before. I bet you didn't know how they interface with bone health. They're called glucosamine sulfate, chondroitin sulfate, and hyaluronic acid. These are the building blocks of the skeleton of your skeleton. The skeleton of your skeleton is a sulfur-based molecule matrix, a sulfur-based molecule skeleton inside the skeleton to which the minerals stick. Now, if I was attempting to strengthen somebody's bone, it would be prudent for me not only to give the siding and the shingles, but also to strengthen the 2x4s that the siding and the shingles are going to stick to, right? Right. And that's exactly what we do here at Youngevity. This is exactly what naturopathic physicians do all around the world. We give the body the building blocks that it needs in order to fix itself, the building blocks necessary, the sulfur-bearing molecules that the skeleton of the skeleton needs to maintain its structural integrity. Glucosamine sulfate, chondroitin sulfate, and hyaluronic acid. These three nutrients are found in one place, Youngevity's Glucogel capsules. The Glucogel capsules contain these three elements in really good ratios, in really good proportions, in really good molecular forms. It's very easy for your body to assimilate and absorb. Youngevity offers these building blocks to the skeleton of your skeleton in two different ways. It has them in an encapsulated form, and it also has them in a liquid form. It's liquid Glucogel Plus and the Glucogel capsules. Now, a dosage is an important thing. If you went to a medical professional with a sinus infection and they told you that you needed 30 milligrams of this antibiotic twice a day for 7 days, 30 milligrams twice a day for 7 days, well, guess what? If you took 10 milligrams once a day for 4 days, it wouldn't work. Well, does that mean the antibiotic doesn't work? No. It just means you didn't take enough. Well, it's no different with medical nutrition. You need to take the right stuff. You need to take the right amounts of the right stuff, and you need to be assured that the stuff is being absorbed. And the absorption is based on the recipe. Well, Dr. Wallach has the recipe dialed right in for you. He's done all that heavy lifting for you. The only thing you have to figure out is the dosage. And the dosage of the capsules, the Glucogel capsules, in order to support and promote the structure and function of your bones, to give your skeleton the stuff it needs, the skeleton of your skeleton the stuff it needs. Our recommendation, 1 capsule of Glucogel per 10 pounds of body weight per day. So if you're 180 pounds, 180 divided by 10 is 18. you would need 18 glucogel capsules a day. That's not hard. 6 with breakfast, 6 with lunch, 6 with dinner. Bada bing, bada boom. That's a done deal. If you'd rather take the liquid, no problem. The recommendation, 1 ounce per 50 pounds of body weight per day. So if you're 180 pounds, we'd crank that up to 200, right, because that's easily dividable by 50. So you would take 1 ounce of the liquid glucogel 4 times a day. I mean, how hard is that? That's easy. I mean, that's easy breezy, lemon squeezy, right? I mean, that is so easy. A 5th grader could do it, and I think you're smarter than a 5th grader, although I'm not sure that the MD is, because if the MD was smarter than a 5th grader, they wouldn't advise you to take Fosamax or Boniva. For goodness sakes, they make the problem that they're trying to fix worse. So if you want to be smarter than your MD, it's not hard, and you're trying to support and promote the structure and function of your bones, the recommendation is easy. 1 healthy bone and joint pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month is a really, really, really good place to start, because not only does the healthy bone and joint pack contain all of the minerals that your bones need to stay healthy, it contains the sulfur-bearing molecules as well. You may need to get an extra bottle or 2 of the glucosamine sulfate or the chondroitin sulfate. You may need to get an extra bottle or 2 in order to meet the goal, the dosage goal. But it's easy, folks. You can do math. Give your body the nutrients it needs. Get out of the way and let the healing begin. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Peter Glidden here. You can watch the live stream at my website, fireyourmdnow.com, or on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and type in Dr. Peter Glidden. It should pop up there as a Google Hangout. We had a little bit of technical trouble in the first half of this program with the live stream, but we have it dialed right in right now. Lines are open here, 866-582-9933. That's the number to call to speak to me live and in person, 866-582-9933. Now, another reason that I advise people to, get on the other side of MD care is because of this phenomenon that MDs are quick to get into. The phenomenon is called hypocrisy, because MDs will call us up all the time and say, oh, Dr. Glidden, that naturopathic stuff, that herbal stuff, that acupuncture stuff, that homeopathic stuff, it's never been proven, it's never been subject to a double-blind study, and this, of course, is what we need. We're all double-blind this and double-blind this, and you must do it to research perfection, and that's the only way science is going to advance. And, well, number one, most of the stuff that we advise is, in fact, science-based and clinically verified. Most of the therapeutics that naturopathic physicians advise are science-based and clinically verified. We don't just pull stuff out of thin air. Science-based and clinically verified. It is, in fact, science-based and clinically verified. That's why my profession exists, to provide scientific validation to non-drug treatments, number one. Number two, there's something called the practice of medicine that MDs gave up a long time ago. The practice of medicine goes like this. You're a doctor and you're in private practice, and you do a particular therapy that hasn't been, subjected to $80 million of double-blinded research because you have a brain and you can think things through, and it's not a dangerous treatment, and you're going to try it, and your colleagues are going to try it, you're going to see what happens. And so you do stuff therapeutically, MDs do stuff therapeutically all of the time, which is outside of the convention. It's outside of the convention, and they do it because it's called the practice of medicine. It's called the practice of medicine for a reason. We do therapeutics that haven't been proven and haven't been clinically verified all the time because that's how medicine advances. And this type of working outside of the box of, the conventional norms is called off-label prescribing. So you'll go to an MD and they'll give you a high blood pressure medicine to help with anxiety and panic attacks, even though that particular therapeutic has never been proven. They'll give you an antacid to help you sleep at night because It's their clinical experience that it works, even though it hasn't been proven. So MDs do this black box therapeutics all the time, off-label prescribing all the time. Some statistics say it's over 60% of the time. It's a very difficult thing to track statistically. And yet they'll turn around and say, oh, you know, those naturopaths, they don't do enough double-blinded studies and their stuff is all hocus pocus. And they're lying. And they're hypocritical into the bargain. They're liars and they're hypocrites, and why we give them a pass at this, I don't know. It's a big bad voodoo daddy, ladies and gentlemen. And the last thing is, what's the big deal with all of this double-blinded nonsense anyway? I mean, wasn't Fosamax and Boniva double-blinded? Weren't they subjected to 60, 70, 80 million dollars of federally approved research? I mean, weren't they? Yes, they were. And they don't work, and they hurt people. So what's the deal? Wasn't Vioxx approved after millions of dollars of research, double-blinded studies? Well, yes, it was, and it killed people. So what's the big deal with all of this double-blinded research? It's, you know, one hand doesn't wash the other. One hand doesn't know what the other hand is doing. And especially when the research says that a particular stream of thought, a particular therapeutic doesn't work, and if it goes against what the MDs have been trained, they discount it. Chemotherapy doesn't work. That was published and proven over 12 years ago after a 14-year study. 97% of the time, chemotherapy for adult-onset cancer doesn't work. And that's been proven and published. And yet chemotherapy is rolled out every day. Reason number 9 to fire your MD, they're hypocrites. They do not pay attention to the research, and they deliver dangerous, expensive treatments. Ladies and gentlemen, fire your MD now. Visit fireyourmdnow.com, click on the longevity button, and get your health back with science-based, clinically verified nutrition. Hour 2 coming up. Stick around.